Hi guys, welcome back to Crypto Chester. My name is Chester and today I'll be walking you through the crypto markets. First things first, we're going to start off with the short term for Bitcoin, then the mid term for Bitcoin, and then we're going to be getting to the long term for Bitcoin. If you guys have any altcoins as well, dump them in the chat and I'll get to them once I've finished my Bitcoin technical analysis. And that's going to be the stream today, guys. I won't be going for too long today, as it is a Saturday indeed, and I am pretty tired. But yeah, I'll be going for around an hour or two, so let's just get straight into it, right? Starting off with Bitcoin on the short term at this point in time, you can see that we do have this falling wedge coming down, right? This falling wedge coming down, and we are actually testing the bottom side of this falling wedge. It is quite a nice falling wedge in terms of confirmation, right? We've got touches all the way along these trend lines, which shows it's got potential for this chart pattern to play out, right? In terms of a trade for this chart pattern, what I am currently looking for is a potential short position, right? Potential measure move coming down from the bottom side of this falling wedge here, looking something along the lines of this, right? Obviously, this is on the predication that we do come up and we do test this trend line again. That would be my entry point because I don't want to get in straight away, because I want to get a better entry if what's happening here is just a trap and we are going to basically come back up and reclaim this falling wedge that we've got coming through here. But yeah, in terms of a percentage for this trade that I am currently looking at, this nice juicy potential short position which could be playing out pretty soon, right? Because we are on the hourly, right? So this is a potential trade for a lovely Saturday evening. Very nice weather in England as it stands, right? Very nice weekend to come. In terms of a percent for this trade, in terms of a measure move, right, we could be looking at around an 8%. But let me explain why I'm not going to be looking for a full completion of this measure move. The reasoning for this is, if we just switch to the midterm quickly for Bitcoin, as you can see here, we do have a nice horizontal support level sat at around just around 33,000 there, right? So we know we do have a potential bounce point there. So if we are going to short, expecting a completion of this measure move, we'd be looking at down around 31,000, and that's just not feasible if we do have that horizontal level of support sat at around that 33k there. We also have this volume weighted ATR band coming through here, and we know we usually find pretty dominant levels of support on this volume weighted ATR band, right? So that is an another sort of signal that we are going to bounce up from there. So it's another level of support that we are potentially going to find. In terms of a percent, getting down to that absolute 32,700 mark, I do think we are going to be looking at around a bounce around there, as a lot of the things are falling into place in a sense, and that would be around this point here. In terms of a percent for that trade, if we're just going to be looking for that 32,700 mark in terms of a take profit, we would be looking something at around just near enough 4%, right? Near enough 4%. Yeah, just probably just under 4% there, right? So it's definitely something to consider. Obviously, nothing I say is financial advice, and any trades that I am, in a sense, trying to educate you guys on, I'm not saying go put these trades. I'm saying go do your own TA, go look at how I've got to where I've got to, and then make your own decision, right? And it is dumping as I am talking, so it might be a trade I'm going to miss out on because I'm live, right? Very, very annoying stuff. But yes, so that is that's the potential trade position on the short term there for Bitcoin. If I just jump to the RSI right now, we can obviously see we do have this dominant sloping level of resistance coming through here in terms of a downward sloping resistance line coming through here. So if we are going to see a pump in the price, we know we're going to have some resistance here, and that is basically just going to keep going down. This trend line is going to keep going down. So the longer we go along the line in terms of this hourly time frame here, we know at some point we're going to come up and find some resistance there. So that's definitely something to consider at this point in time. We're nearly oversold, right? We're nearly oversold, and we know what that means. When we get to that oversold point, we have that buyback power. So we do need to think about that if the price is going to be dumping anytime soon, because then we are going to be oversold on the short term for Bitcoin, and that's going to obviously initiate a buyback, right? Which could, in a sense, create some uncertainty while we're in our position, right? Because if we're on a position and we're aiming for that 32,700 mark at around around this around this point here, right? Around this point here, if we're looking for that basically a half measure move completion around about 4%, if we get to that point down that bottom there, we are going to be oversold on the RSI, or if we're oversold before that, we are going to see that retracement. So we could even get to like this point here and then see that retracement, potentially a test of this lower side of this falling wedge again, while this RSI on the midterm corrects itself, potentially finding a level of resistance here. But yes, that's definitely something to consider if for this short trade that we've got coming through on the short-term time frame here, as well on the MACD here. You can see here we do have this dominant level of support, right? In terms of these downtrends coming down, it's dominant level of support, and it keeps getting stopped. The downtrends keep getting stopped, and they keep finding support, and then we see that bullish crossover and basically see the uptrend take form, right? At this point in time, we are coming down. We need to think about this level of support that we've got coming through here, because as you can see, we do have quite a lot of momentum towards the upside once we hit it, right? So if we are going to come down, right, and we are going to see a nice test of this level of support here on the downtrend, on this downtrend cycle on the MACD that we've got coming through here, if we do see that, we are likely to find support and we are likely to see progression in the price, right? So that's another indication that we could basically get down, potentially not even getting down to that 32,700 mark, 32,700 mark, but if we are going to get down to that point, and we do see us hit that point there, well, this point here, that 32,734 mark, it is going to be an ideal indication if we're resting just on this support line, because that's obviously going to mean we are going to see some sort of correction in terms of the price, in terms of an uptrend forming from that there. If we are to lose it, right, I mean, to be honest with you, I don't think we're going to lose it, because as you can see, we have heavily respected it for quite a while here. Even if we're not getting to it, we are still finding that momentum to the upside when we do hit it, right? So if we do get to it and we are looking like we're going to break it, then we are going to see a new trend cycle here. But in my opinion right now, I don't think we'll be looking for that, just because I do think we need a few more for this this cycle to actually fizzle out, right? And that's why I think we're not having really these insane stagnant dumps in terms of us falling off a cliff. I think the MACD here is really catching us. If you look back in history, right, we see this one coming down here. We found this bounce point here, and that was obviously correlating perfectly with this level of support on the MACD here. So it's definitely something to consider in terms of reliability for that momentum towards the upside. That's definitely something that I'm going to be using for this upcoming short position, right? Definitely something I'm going to be using there. Yeah, so that's pretty much the... that's pretty much the short term summed up for Bitcoin there. In terms of a target, I would be looking for that 32,700 mark. We'd be looking for a bounce off that 32,700 mark. Obviously, managing the RSI and managing the MACD from there, right? Now, onto the midterm for Bitcoin right now. As you can see, the midterm right now, we've formed this nice falling price channel. I mean, at this point in time, obviously, we don't want Bitcoin to be going down, but I must say, very attractive indeed. Looking very nice indeed. A lot of confirmations on both sides that it's nice and strong. It's nice and strong, so that's why we do have a clear indication that we are looking at potential bottom at this point would be around this 31,030 zone. I don't think we're going to get as low as 30k just about yet, but we'll just have to see how we go. And ideally, as I just said, on the short term, we are looking for a bounce off this point. So potentially, we could find a bounce off this 32,700 mark around this volume-weighted ATR band. Bounce up, come and test this 10 moving average coming up like that, and then have that continuation to the downside if this 21's following us with us as well, and we are finding a nice level of resistance off that. Now, right now, if we are looking at basically riding this 10 moving average down and breaking this level of support that we've got sat at 32,700, we would be looking at a next level of support sat on the bottom side of this downward of this falling channel that we've got coming through here, right? That would be our next bounce point to think about in terms of a target price. That would be around that 31,000. We'd probably go on this low wick here, coming up here, that higher low that we've got coming through here. We would be going on that around 31,088 marks. So it's definitely something to think about in terms of a bounce point for Bitcoin there. Because even if we do get down to that point before we even, no, we won't quite get there, but I do think we will. If it correlates perfectly with the lower side of this falling channel here, then it's definitely something to consider in terms of a secondary bounce point if we don't respect this level of support at 32,700 there. In terms of the RSI right now, on the old midterm for Bitcoin, you can see this this respect also that we got coming through from this trend line, the downwards momentum when we come up and test the bottom side of this trend line coming through here, right? So it's definitely something to consider if we are to see any buying momentum at all, any serious bounce point from this 32,700 mark, where I do think we are going to bounce from, and we are going to get there pretty imminently, because we are continuously just setting lower highs in terms of this downtrend coming through here. We are literally just setting lower highs, and it's not looking like we are going to be coming up anytime soon. The only sign that I can be coming up from there would be a bounce off these few points here, and that does correlate with the short position on the short-term time frame on the 1 hour time frame for Bitcoin there. But yes, if we are likely to bounce off this 32,500 mark, we are likely to see that buying power, right? That buying power coming up to test the 10 moving average, the 21, as just stated. If that is to happen, we are going to see that buying power on the RSI, and then the likelihood of this happening, seeing that resistance on the RSI, downward sloping resistance point here, we are looking at basically a swift rejection from there. So that's basically an indication if we are to bounce off this 32,700 point, we are looking at a nice bounce down from this 21 and this 10 moving average coming through here, right? So it's definitely something to consider, right? Definitely something to consider with the RSI there. That's obviously on the basis that we do have a bounce from that point, and it is likely that we are going to do that because, as you can see, we are dumping in price, and the RSI is following suit, right? The RSI is following suit, and that basically means likelihood of us being oversold pretty soon, it looks like it is going to happen, right? It looks like it is going to happen. And obviously, we know what happens from there. We do need a bounce, right? So that's another correlation that we are going to bounce off this point there. It's look, all the stars are aligning. It's coming together quite nicely, right? In terms of the MACD right now, that cycle in terms of the downtrend got pretty much completed there. So we are looking at a new downtrend cycle, which basically is an initiation. We could be seeing some sort of lower low happening on the downtrend here for the MACD. So that's definitely something to consider, right? Because if we are going to set a lower low, we are going to be looking for that next trend cycle to form, and then looking for the dominant the second trend that we find there is going to basically be the second hand in creating that potential trend line for us there to go off in future positions, right? So that's definitely something to consider on the MACD there for Bitcoin on the midterm, right? That's on the midterm. As you can see, to the upside here, we have created some pretty dominant higher highs, right? Pretty dominant higher highs in terms of a trend cycle here. So as I said, next time when we do see that bullish crossover on the MACD here, we do need to be watching. We need to be watching where the trend is going to be fizzling out, right? Watching where the trend is going to be fizzling out. And that's going to be an indication how strong amount of buying power we're going to see probably over the next weekend or so, right? Definitely something to consider when looking and trading Bitcoin and analyzing it yourself, right? In terms of horizontal supports on the old MACD here, in terms of a downtrend support, we are literally testing it at this point. So if we do not get a nice clearance over that, it is an indication that we could be going a little bit lower than that in terms of the downtrend. Absolute lowest point I can see us hitting is this horizontal level of support down here at around that minus 750 zone. And as you can see, we are pretty far indeed away from a bullish crossover indeed, right? We're pretty far away in terms of the short term here for Bitcoin. So that's an indication that we are going to have that continuation to the downside happening pretty imminently over the next 1 hour and 38 minutes or so. So yeah, that's another thing to consider. But as I said, for the midterm, the absolute low point would be an ideal bounce off either this 32,700 point correlated perfectly with our short trade that we're looking at on the short term there. And if not, we're looking at a nice bounce point from this downward sloping price channel that we've got coming through here. And this falling channel that we've got coming through here, looking at a bounce from there, potentially coming up and whittling up over the rest of the weekend and seeing us having a nice test of the top side there. That would be the ideal scenario for Bitcoin, because we don't really want to dump off a cliff. On the basis that we do dump off a cliff and we do look at setting lower lows, I would be pretty inclined for that to happen if we do lose the volume weighted ATR band here and we have some serious momentum to the downside if we're testing this lower section of this falling channel that we got coming through here. In terms of a measure move, in terms of a short to the downside, if you were looking at that, we would be looking at something along the lines of this, obviously on the basis that we do break these heavy levels of support here, and then we are coming down to test, because that's how we would create the measure move down from that, right? And then we'd basically take this measure move, put it on wherever we're going to break along this falling downwards channel. And that gives us initiation for a completion of the measure move to the downside, right? In terms of the absolute low for this measure move, it's laughable, right? It's 21,500. So for me personally, I don't think that's going to happen anytime soon. And we know crypto, they do like to scurry around with these moving averages, not moving averages, these measure moves to the downside and to the upside. So it's just on speculation whether we are going to hit that low or whether it is going to be a faker, or we can see a potential take profit coming through at different points there to think about, right? So potentially we've got a high point here on the way up here, so that could be a nice level of support we could be looking at. Definitely something to think about in terms of if Bitcoin is going to fall off a cliff in terms of a bounce point, right? But yeah, that'd be Bitcoin kind of summed up on the old midterm there. Let me jump to the long term. Just going to have some water here. Guys, if you're liking the stream, smash that thumbs up. Helps me out tremendously. Turn that thumbs up blue, right? And guys, I stream every single morning, Monday to Friday, 1 to 2 hours. So if you are liking the content, hit that subscribe button, hit the notification bell. You're never going to miss one of my uploads. And also, you can stream with me and trade with me every single day, right? Brilliant stuff there. Let me just have some water, and then I'll jump onto the long term for Bitcoin. And guys, if you've got any requests at all, dump them in the chat. Yeah, you have been talking in the chat, and I haven't actually popped it up today. My mistake. Right, yeah, now I can see it. Hi, SkyDMX. What's good, bro? Nice to see you back again, Bill. I'm Harsh. Bitcoin Doge Matrix will bounce back or not. I'll just get onto that in a sec, Harsh. SkyDMX, good to see you, bro. Neelesh, great TA, bro. Nice to see you again, Neelesh. Returning in that. OG's out here. OG, we got Bill, Sky, and Neelesh here. Zahid, let's go listen to you and your bro. Come on, man. Very cool indeed. Very cool indeed. But yeah, so the long term for Bitcoin, what we're looking at for right now, Unfortunately, as discussed yesterday, we are continuously setting these lower highs, right? We're continuously setting these lower highs in terms of this downtrend. It's not nice, right? It's not nice. It's an indication that we are going to have that continuation to the downside. But on the positive stance, we do have these points coming through here as levels of support, because as you can see here, we do have the lower point here, right? But this this wick coming down, that's actually a higher low there. So if we are looking at going even lower, we do need to, in a sense, eradicate this higher low. We have, unfortunately, just kind of, I think we're actually kind of testing this on the long term right now. We have actually just smashed through this high low point here at around that, I was talking about this yesterday, I think, around this 34,000 mark. We did actually smash through that, unfortunately. So that basically is an indication why we're seeing this curl over, why we're seeing this trend progress to the downside, right? But as I was saying, as I said in my little description for my video today, my stream today, I did say we had actually come up and we have tested this 10 moving average on the daily here, which is pretty crucial indeed, because we obviously opened, right? We opened around this point, and actually we saw that buying power to the upside, which shows we do actually still have buying power and a bit of confidence in the market, right? But unfortunately, in terms of chart patterns, we are just setting these lower highs. We are just getting lower, eradicating these high lows here. So honestly, I do think we are going to come down. And as I said, potential nice short position to follow that down, right? And that is looking very good indeed in terms of reversal in the price, because we are looking for that test. We're looking for that test, finding that resistance to the bottom side of this falling wedge here, and this resistance of this horizontal resistance line at that 34,200 mark. So we are looking for a nice little surge in the price before we have that continuation to the downside, right? And that's going to be a nice little entry for our short position there. Obviously, nothing I say is financial advice. Just my opinions on what I think might happen in the market, right? Got a new cushion for my chair. It's not really that great, I must say. But yeah, absolute low point for Bitcoin in terms of the daily right now. We would be looking at a target, right? A target, right, of eradicating this higher low here. We are still a long way off. In terms of percents for how long we are away from that, it's literally still 7 to 8%, right? And if we are going to see us have that completion of that trend, not like the completion of that trade that we had there, it was around 4% decrease there. So around a 4% decrease there, we'll go just under 4%. Yeah, just under 4% there. It does eradicate this high low that we got coming through here as well from that previous uptrend. So that is another indication that we are going to come down. And yeah, it's just not looking good for Bitcoin at all. In terms of a bounce point for the daily, I would be looking at around this 30k mark. I know it's pretty sad to say, but in terms of a long position that you could be looking for, it would be around this 30k mark, because we do see that insane buying power, insane momentum to the upside once we hit that point, right? And obviously, for me personally, it's not going to be something I'm going to be leveraging, because if we do get around this level here, we are going to see insane swings in either direction, because it is going to be an insanely volatile place. Because as you can see here before, like when we did all this volatile stuff before, it was absolutely crazy, because literally the buying power and the panic selling was just all over it. It was all over it. So that's definitely something to consider. If we are going to get to that, get to around this 30k mark, we are going to see some panic selling in the market, and people are going to be losing their shit in a sense, right? But yeah, so definitely something to consider in terms of what's happening on the daily for the old Bitcoin there. In terms of the weekly right now, obviously we are 1 day and 6 hours away from that weekly, and we did see that progression. We get into that 40k. We all got very, very excited. What's up, Ivo? Nice to see you, my guy, OG out here. But yeah, as you can see here, we did get to the top side of this top side. We did create a lot of buying momentum on this weekly candle here, which is, we were all excited, right? We saw that 40k Bitcoin, and we were talking about challenging them I think they were the lower highs, right? The lower highs of the crucial lower highs that I was talking about from before. Where were they? Crucial lower highs, yeah, these ones up here, right? The crucial lower highs I was talking about before, and I was stressing about them at the start of the week, like, right, we need to get up to this point. If we don't get up to this point, then we are going to see a continuation down if we don't eradicate this lower high that we got coming through here. But yeah, we didn't actually get there. Was annoying, because ideally, to see that momentum towards the upside, we would have needed to get through this point here, and then we would have found support and progressed to the upside from there. But unfortunately, as I said, we didn't get there, right? We didn't get there, and that's when we got to this point in terms of the weekly candle that we got coming through here. We are seeing that swift rejection. We are seeing that lower side of that candle probably over the next day or so now. And we're just praying, right? Everybody cross your fingers. Just pray that we don't close below this 55. If we close below this 55 moving average, it's not looking good indeed, because we are going to see that resistance to the downside. If we see that resistance to the downside, waiting on these longs, love is in the air. What's up, Ivo? Bill, I tethered up 2 days ago. I'm determined to put all my money, all my crypto money into Matic and ETH during this dip. ETH seems safer, but Matic has bigger upside in the short term. Yeah, I do agree with you, bro. The only problem with me at the moment is Matic has seen insane gains recently, so we are going to be looking at some sort of healthy correction from there. But yeah, I'll jump onto Matic once I've just summed up Bitcoin here for you guys. I'll jump onto Matic. But yeah, guys, if you've got any other requests, I'll do a bit of ETH as well. I'll tell you what, I'll start with ETH and then I'll jump to Matic. But any other requests, guys, smash them in the chat and we'll go through them together. But yeah, guys, if you're liking the stream, smash that thumbs up. Helps me out tremendously. And yeah, helps me out tremendously. Turn that thumbs up blue, guys. Oh, but yeah, crucial. I just spilled water all over my keyboard. Crucial that we don't close below this 55 moving average, sat at the point of around $32,073 there. If we close below that, we are going to see some downwards momentum. I can see us potentially setting a lower low in terms of next week. Crucial that we don't close below the 55 there. And if we do close below the 55, it can't be below this lower low point here. If we set another lower low for Bitcoin, then honestly, it's not looking good at all. It's really, really not looking good. If we can set a higher low here above the 55, we could be looking at a bit of upwards momentum in terms of the start of next week there. Potentially seeing some sort of price action looking like we had before, right? So from close there, in terms of last week, we saw a nice 17% upswing, right? 17% upswing. So we could be looking at something along the lines of that if the chart is going to look bullish, if we get above this, if we close above this 55. So it's definitely something to watch over this weekend, over this crucial back holiday period. If we do set that lower low, I would be looking at a potential bounce point on this volume weighted ATR band, sat around that 27,990 mark. So yeah, definitely something to watch here on the old weekly, right? Now, to the monthly, crazy, obviously crazy stuff on the monthly here. Literally one monthly candle, absolute dumping to the floor, right? Bouncing off the 10 moving average, which is nice, right? It is nice. So we are bouncing off the 10, but as I was just saying on the old weekly there, if we are to close below the 55, we're likely that we're going to be closing below the 10 as well. For the monthly, that is not good. That is not good at all, right? Not good at all. Can't stress that enough. If we close below the 10 here, we are looking at it to come down and potentially test this 21 at around that 25k zone. Very, very horrible stuff indeed. But it is expected, right? I'm not saying it's not expected because as you can see here, obviously this is the Binance chart, so it doesn't have all the data here. But as you can see here, in terms of the last 9 months or something like that, for Bitcoin here, it's insane bull run, which we did see. It was very, very rare to see this many, for you guys it's probably green candles, but for this many blue candles in a row and having this upwards momentum. So I hate to say it, it does actually mean that what we're seeing here, it's not too bad, right? It's not too bad. We need this to happen for it to be healthy. We can't just be going blue candle, parabolic sort of motion for Bitcoin, because if that is to happen, then we are going to see insanely bigger corrections than this. But in order for us to actually be healthy on the monthly here, we do need probably a nice sideways period over the next few months here. Probably not that long, right? Over the next few months here, and basically holding that nice level of support on this 10 moving average that we're coming through here, and then seeing that consolidation period before we see a nice juicy amount of monthly candles looking something like that again, getting to those big mega targets there for us to think about, obviously in the future, right around that 2022 mark. That's not the ideal scenario, but ideal scenario we just bang it to absolute moon. But obviously we are on the monthly here, so we do need to take into account we do need that consolidation period if we are going to see that correction off this in a sense parabolic movement to the upside, right? So yeah, not too bad at all. Yeah, crucial point to watch is this 10 moving average that we've got coming through here at that 31,684 zone on your charts there, guys. But yeah, that's Bitcoin kind of summed up, right? That's Bitcoin kind of summed up in terms of the daily, the monthly, and the weekly there for you guys. But yeah, crucial points on the daily here would be not eradicating this high low here, and basically closing the daily above that, and then seeing a bounce off that 32,700 mark. I did say it was, I think, on the midterm. Yeah, that 32,700 mark, or potentially around this 31,600 mark. But as I said, on that monthly chart there, we can't be falling below that 31,400 mark and getting a close. So just pray for the end of the weekend that we are going to see a bounce off these points, and we're going to be sitting around this 34k mark for Bitcoin there. Crucial time. If we are to see that lower low point on those dailies there, then it's not going to be very good for anyone involved in terms of anyone holding Bitcoin and in terms of crypto in general, generatively speaking, right? Jumping to ETH now. Jump into ETH for good old Bill. As you can see here, we have just bounced off this horizontal support point at 2,230 there. Finding a nice level of support there. Very, very nice indeed. Not quite, but getting there. We found a nice level of support there in terms of bouncing to the upside. Unfortunately, in terms of this trend that we've got coming through here, we are setting these lower lows continuously, right? These higher lows coming through here. Not very good stuff indeed in terms of looking for that upwards momentum. Ideally, I mean, look at that lower high there. It's just if we're going to look at eradicating that, we are going to need some insane buying momentum to the upside here. From where we are currently, we're looking at around that 3-4% there, so not too bad. But obviously, we do have this horizontal resistance line coming through here as well, which is primarily respected, right? We can see a lot of rejections coming through off this horizontal resistance line coming through here. So if we are looking like, and it did reject it on that last candle there when we were testing it. So if we are looking to come up and eradicate this lower low, this lower high coming through here, we are looking at probably quite a bit of resistance here. But the fact that these lower low points are getting smaller, it is good. Like closer together. It means the price is kind of like slowing down. We're losing that downwards momentum. But ideally, we're looking for that bounce at this point in time. On the old hourly here, we do have I think that that's probably from a bigger time frame there. But as you can see here, we are near enough oversold, right? We're near enough oversold. So if we are going to see any more downwards momentum to the downside, we are going to look for that correction, right? We're going to look for that correction and potentially looking for this level of resistance here, because it is coming to an end. This we jump to the 4 hour here. That's probably going to show a lot nicer. Yeah, as you can see here, we do have this downward sloping resistance line, right? If we do see the resistance off that, and we have that continuation to the downside here, on the plus side, it is coming to an end. This dirty resistance line coming down here on the old ETH RSI on the old 4 hour there. If we are looking at seeing that resistance there, it will last a bit, right? It's going to last a bit, probably into the start of June, if we are going to keep respecting it. But then after that, we're likely to see a surge of buying power or find a nice level of support on it. So that's definitely something to consider in terms of ETH right there. Definitely something to watch, because obviously we are seeing that dominant levels of resistance from this line continuously, right? Nice level of support there as well, if we can find that and hold it. So yeah, we would be looking to get above that and hold that with all of our might in that sense, right? In terms of what's happening on the MACD for the old midterm here for Ethereum, right? We do near enough have some sort of inclination of where this trend line is going to be in terms of downward selling momentum, right? But with that being said, we did see a fizzle out, right? We did see a fizzle out in the downtrend for ETH here. Nice little fizzle. We were looking at that bullish crossover, having that momentum reverse and having that uptrend formed. But unfortunately, the selling power got to us there. The selling power got to us, and we continued that progression to the downside in terms of a downtrend here. So there's got water everywhere. Oh my god. But yeah, definitely something to consider, because if we are looking at coming lower than that in terms of price, in terms of this downtrend being stronger, we still need to move this trend line cycle with it as well, to give us an indication of where we're going to go in the future, right? Obviously, it doesn't always respect it, but it's definitely something that I like to use in terms of potential bounce points for trades if some potential trades come through, right? Back to the chart for a second here, guys. Back to the chart for a second for here. If we are going to see that dump, right? If we're going to see that insane dump to the floor and not respect this downward sloping resistance line we've got coming through on the old Ethereum on the midterm, I would be looking at a bounce point at this volume weighted ATR band. As you can see, we do primarily find a nice level of resistance here and a nice level of support here. So I would be looking at a potential bounce point, obviously having stop loss potentially quite tight to it there, obviously depending on how it's behaving, where that candle close is happening, and whether it's going to be a trap or not, right? So we do need to think about that. If we are going to be looking at a potential long position from there, I would be looking at another target to come up from there, and obviously that is on speculation that we do see that support get formed on the RSI there, and also potentially having a bullish crossover in terms of a new trend coming through on the old MACD there. But obviously we are on the 4 hour here, so we do have quite a while before we're even looking at that there. But yeah, in terms of a trade for that, we would be looking for something around 10% there for Ethereum, obviously on speculation speculation, I can't think of the word for it, but obviously depending on what Bitcoin's going to do there. And as you can see, oh, that's the wrong one there. Bitcoin is actually coming back up. It's coming back up to test this resistance point, and for me, that is going to be an entry to a short position there. Unfortunately, I do think I'm going to be live while it's going to do all this stuff. So, but yeah, obviously, if you are researching this trade yourself, obviously nothing I say is financial advice. I would be looking and monitoring this right now to see if we can get a nice level of resistance from this. If you can see a nice level of resistance from this point here, I would be looking at a potential short position coming down to that 32,700 mark. In terms of percent for that trade, it would be around a 4% trade there. So guys, if you want to do your research on that, monitor the price now. If we can find that nice downwards resistance point, we would be looking very good indeed. In terms of that, we would be looking for that hourly candle close, looking pretty good indeed in terms of momentum to the downside. Back to ETH for now for the second, right? In terms of that downwards target, we were looking at around that 2,150. If we are to see a reversal in the price, right? Still, it would be this horizontal resistance point sat around that 2,386 in terms of a target. And as you can see, we did just break this pretty dominant trend line coming down from the bottom part there, from the bottom part of Ethereum when we saw that insane downtrend and that insane lower low point that we had there for Ethereum there. So if we are looking at coming up, we are looking at hopefully finding support on this 2,386 point. If we can do that, the next level of resistance would be at this trend line, right? It would be at this trend line. As you can see, we did come up and test it, and we have seen that insane resistance from that point. And we know it's real strong, right? We know it's real strong. It's a dominant trend line here. And as you can see, we do have a lot of buying momentum from that lower point there. So it's definitely something to consider. If we do clear it, we could be looking at a potential move to the upside. And then we've obviously got this downward sloping resistance line to think about as well. Potentially some sort of symmetrical triangle playing out. We'll just see how we go in terms of Ethereum's price. But short-term targets right now for Ethereum, I would be looking at a bounce from this point here at 2,231. If we are going to get around, I think that was, no, if we are going to get around this 2,148 zone, I would be, do you have a live trade so we can see how you do it? I haven't actually done that. I haven't experimented with that. I might do that in the future. But it's a bit of a gray area, right? It's a bit of a gray area because if I'm live trading, then it's very easy for people to just copy my trades. And if they copy my trades and my trades are wrong, then I'm likely to get sued. I'm likely to get sued because they'll be like, he said put on this trade. He showed his live trades. He's executing it. He's giving the implications for us to execute it. So yeah, it's kind of a gray area. So it's maybe something I could think about in the future. I would like to do a trade challenge where we start with say like $10, or we start with like $100, and we aim for that like maybe 10 grand mark or something like that over the course of maybe a month or something like that. I think that'd be quite cool. But at this point in time, I am just trying to kind of master streaming, master what I'm doing with my channel at this point in time, because obviously I've only been going for 2 weeks. But yeah, definitely. If you've got any ideas for stuff like that, chuck them in the chat, and yeah, I can put them in the old book, and we'll potentially do some sort of that in the future, some sort of things like that in the future, guys, because that'd be really quite interesting, and it gives like an edge on YouTube, right? Because not a lot of people are doing stuff like that, right? Gap in the market in a sense, right? But yeah, so where were we? The 4 hour. Yeah, short-term bounce point, we would be looking at that 2,148 mark for the 4 hour there. But in terms of that trend reversal, if we are going to eradicate this lower high coming through here, we would be looking for that 2,370 mark, right? Let me have a look at the chat quickly. Wine flies all over the place. Ruin the camera focus. Oh, no way. I've got to get closer to get it back. Very annoying. Yeah, I've got this fly. We've been chasing it for like all day. Very annoying. Probably flying around here, right? Very, very nice. What happens when you get hot in England? It just gets flies. Obviously, I'm not going to complain about bugs because English bugs are nothing compared to around the world. But yeah. Yeah, who is his brother? Does he do crypto streams? Yes, Bill, my brother is Bitcoin Beats. If you want to go check him out, he's obviously a lot more established than me, and I haven't been in trading as long as him. I think he's been trading around 4 years. Me personally, only around 1.5 years. But yeah, I think I'm at the point where I can stream my opinions across to the public. But yeah, go have a chat with him. I appreciate all the answers to the question. Not at all, Bill. Not at all. If I can give my insight and I know what you're talking about, and if I can give a sort of educational standpoint, then yeah, definitely I will, bro. I will. That's why I'm here. You think Matic could have a healthy correction? Let me have a look for Matic. Yeah, I did say I could have a look at Matic for you. Let me jump to Matic quickly. Yeah, we are on the right chart there. Yeah, so let me get rid of that quickly. At this point in time, unfortunately, we are just setting these lower highs continuously. If we are looking for a bounce point, as you can see, we do have this higher low point of this previous trend, right? So as you were saying there, do you think it could have a healthy correction? Crucial point would be this that price action's in the way that $1.53 mark, right? What does it mean if we dips under $1? It's likely to reach $2 again for a while. Let me just get through this, right? So if we get to if we lose this this higher lows, let me get rid of this indicator, right? If we lose this this higher low zone here, this is crucial, right? If we lose this higher low zone here, it's an indication that we are going to see some sort of progression to the downside, right? So this is crucial to watch at this point here in terms of a level of support. Fingers crossed, we find a level of support here and we bounce to the upside. But as I was just saying, we do have these dominant levels of resistance to think about in terms of bounce point here. You see a lot of consolidation around this point in terms of trying to find support on it, right? So it could be a while before we see that insane correction for Matic. But obviously, we all know Matic, out of nowhere, it'll just bang it, right? Out of nowhere, it'll just bang it. So that's a fundamental to think about because everyone is pretty bullish on Matic. And we saw insane recoveries from when we were looking at those low points for Matic there. I mean, for the long term, for Matic, I do think we are looking at coming up again. I wouldn't say really soon, because at this point in time it's very uncertain in terms of the crypto market. But in terms of crucial bounce point, as I just said, it would be this $1.53 zone. And as we're sat at $1.56, we are pretty close to that in a sense, right? We are pretty close to that in a sense. So that's definitely something to think about in terms of a bounce point. If we can get a nice few candle closes above that, in terms of it would be really nice in terms of the daily, right? In terms of the daily, a candle close there, vice versa, all of them there. If we can get a nice level of candle closes, more primarily the shorter term ones, as long as we're not falling below and wicking below, and then we're testing that resistance to the top side there. To the top side of this horizontal resistance line when we're on the bottom side of it, right? That's when I can see if we do get over it and find that support. That's when I would be looking at progression to the upside. But in order for that to happen, we would be looking at eradicating, in terms of targets, we would be looking at eradicating some lower high points that have been formed, right? Because obviously we've got lower high points coming down here, and they're going to be the next targets in terms of a trend reversal, right? In terms of a trend reversal, I'd say we would be looking at a bounce point at this $1.53 as just stated. Next target for that would be that $1.67. If we can find a nice level of support on that, that's an indication we could see a bit of buying momentum to the upside. In terms of a time frame, right now I would be watching this zone like crazy, or I'd be watching this zone like crazy and use that as basically an indication whether we're going to go up or down, right? If we can see, as I said, if we see some nice healthy closes above it, we could be looking at progression to the upside. If we close below it, right, if we start closing below it continuously on a lot of the time frames, I would be looking at another leg down for Matic there. But at this time, it's not looking bad as long as we don't lose this level of support. In terms of the RSI, what we've got going on here, we do have this downward sloping resistance line on the RSI here, but with that being said, we are near enough oversold, right? We're near enough oversold, not quite, but we're getting there. In terms of the 4-hourly chart, right? If we look at the hourly chart, we are near enough oversold, so that is an indication that we are going to bounce on the hourly here. We are going to bounce on the hourly here. Hopefully, if we can get a little bit more selling momentum to the downside, and as you can see here, we're not quite even on that point, right? We're not quite even on that point where we're looking for that bounce. So that is an indication that we could be coming down, seeing that selling power there. Potentially seeing a wick coming below that horizontal support line that we've got coming through here, and then we see that buying power on the hourly coming back and supporting us there. Seeing that buying power coming up and supporting us. In terms of what's happening on the midterm here for Matic here. On the midterm here for Matic, we would be looking at, if we are going to see that buying power to the upside, we would be looking at a nice level of resistance sat around this point. In terms of what's going to happen in terms of the price, we would be looking at a potential bounce point at this high low point that we set here coming through here, right? Yeah, this high low point in terms of this uptrend coming through here, right? We would be looking at a nice horizontal resistance point, potentially around that $1.67 mark. And if that correlates perfectly with the RSI here, so there's definitely something to watch the RSI in terms of selling power here, because we do have a dominant downward sloping resistance line to think about. If we do see resistance off that, we will see price correction at this point. Crucially, as I just said, we do need to clear this point if we are looking for that next leg up. But as you can see here, we do have another downward sloping resistance line coming down like that from these two high points here. So these two high points here, even though they are lower highs in terms of this uptrend, in terms of seeing that highest point for Matic there, ideally we would be looking at finding a nice level of resistance here. If we can find a nice level of support, that would be absolutely ideal. Next target point would be that previous leg that we were trying to find. But yeah, it's not looking too bad, to be honest with you. It's not looking too bad as long as we can hold the line. As long as we can hold this point here and see that momentum to the upside. Crucial times to watch for Matic there, right? What was next? Crazy stuff. Very tired actually. Had a few beers last night. Awful. Right, let me see. Do you think Matic could have a healthy correction? As I said, that bit is crucial there. Doesn't mean if we dip under $1, it's like to reach $2 again for a while. I mean, if we dip under $1, right? If Matic's to go under $1, you said it's not like to reach $2 for a while. I mean, thing is, what happened before with this, obviously this crypto crash that we had coming through here, we did see an established bounce point, right? For these previous all-time highs that we were setting in terms of that progression to the upside around April time, which is honestly, it's down the road. It's not far at all when that was happening. So, And we obviously saw that insane correction, right? So I know a lot of people are bullish on Matic, right? Lots of people are bullish long-term on Matic. So if we do see, on the basis that the Bitcoin absolutely goes down the drain, right? If Bitcoin does some deep sea diving and Bitcoin falls off a cliff, obviously Matic is going to follow it because all the cryptos do. But as you saw here, the last time this happened for Bitcoin here and for Matic, we did see insane corrections. And I know at the top 50 cryptocurrencies, at this crucial crash point, Matic was one of the ones that was standing out, that was up literally like 25% when everything else was down like 3% or something like that. So in terms of recovery time, Matic has got that edge, I think, at this time in the market. But obviously, what's happening here, these lower highs that are forming, it's literally just Bitcoin dragging the price down. But once Bitcoin has leveled out, and we are going to see some lower low, potentially lower low potential bounce point, as discussed here. If we are going to see some bounce point around that 30K mark before, hopefully we don't get those candle closes as stated above this 55. We can see a bounce point around that 32K mark there on the the weekly. Which would correlate pretty well with this, near enough pretty well with this falling price channel on Bitcoin here. If we do see a bounce from there, we are going to see a surge in the price. And that is obviously going to surge the price of Matic itself, right? So, yeah, in answer to your question, if we do fall below $1, I can't see us recovering from there, right? I can't see us recovering from there because at the end of the day, we do have a low point here. If we do see, say if we saw $1, right? If we get to a dollar at this point, we are potentially either likely to see a bounce, or we are likely, if we do see a bounce from $1, right? Or we do fall below $1 and hit this point here, as I said, we are going to see that correction because it is Matic, and we are going to see that correction to the upside. Worst case scenario, we see another lower low, right? If we see another lower low below this point here, then personally, we do have all of this correlation zone to get over, right? And that is around that 71 cent mark. So I can't really see us going any lower than that. If we do go any lower than that, then bye-bye Matic. No, I'm joking. If we do go any lower than that, then it is not good for Matic. But I can see us having a nice consolidation period around this point for Matic if we are going to even get to that point, right, before we see that progression to the upside, right? I have heard rumors about Matic doing really, really, really well, and then towards the end of the summer, I think it was, or maybe the start of the summer, when Ethereum has that insane announcement, people are saying it is in a sense it could eradicate Matic, and Matic could basically fall off a cliff, and we could see some insane dumps there. But at this point in time, I think it's I'm not sure if I'm going to be right saying this, but it's got some really good layer 2 blockchain technology that's pretty dominant, right, in terms of, I guess, transaction speeds and fees, right? Whereas Ethereum is awful. Is awful. Guys, if you've got any requests, chuck them in the chat there, and I will do your altcoin requests for you guys there. I'm just gonna jump back to do we see any other ones in the chat there? I did Ethereum, I did Matic for you guys. Let me do BNB, right? Let me jump to BNB. BNB right now. BNB right now. Let me get rid of them. Let me bring up the WOD machine, see where we're at, right? See where we're at. As you can see, we are setting lower highs continuously in terms of this downtrend, which is pretty goddamn depressing in my opinion for BNB, because I'm pretty bullish on BNB, and I have been, right, for quite a while. I do think we're going to see some insane gains in the future. But in terms of what's happening, we are seeing that curl over in the trend at this point. We're seeing that curl over in the trend. These low points being created continuously, and these higher lows being unchallengeable in terms of even a trend reversal, right? You see, we got to this low point here. We see that trend reversal. We're challenging this lower high point to see that progression to the upside from there. But no, we're just seeing that resistance continually. So it's definitely something to consider, because we are just setting these lower highs continuously in terms of the price. So at this point in time, I don't see us having any sort of reversal, just looking at candles in terms of that, right? Any sort of reversal on the 4 hour right now, because we do have this 21 coming down. It's quite a way away. Likewise with the 55. Lowest point would obviously be this volume weighted ATR band, having that support. Basically just seeing how that's going on the old, thanks mate, I answered all my Matic questions. Not a problem at all, Bill. Hope you're having a good Saturday evening, my friend. But yeah, we'll jump to the hourly chart for BNB right now. In terms of a target for a bounce point, we would be looking at this horizontal level of support at that 293 zone there. As you can see, we do have a pretty healthy amount of correction points from that. So if we are looking at getting to that level imminently, we could be seeing some buying power for BNB there. Potential trade to think about, obviously referencing everything else as well, because we're nearly oversold on the old RSI as well there. So we could be looking at buying back power if we are going to see some sort of dump here on this bouncing off this horizontal support, right? If we're bouncing off that horizontal support, that would be around this point here for BNB, that 293. That would be a nice bounce point there. If we're referencing the 4 hourly chart here, as 4 hourly RSI as well, we are nearly overbought on that. So that is an indication that we are going to see a bit more upwards momentum if we do get oversold there. So that's an indication that we could be looking at a potential bounce point at that that's Bitcoin at that 293 zone. Let's jump back to that 4 hourly zone, 4 hour RSI there. Just clicked on the wrong chart. Just jumped straight to the RSI, didn't even see it. But yeah, so we are actually coming down in terms of selling power for Binance Coin on the old 4 hour chart there. So if we do get to that oversold point, as I was just saying on the wrong chart, if we do get to that oversold point, we are going to see that upwards momentum. So likelihood, if we are looking for a potential position here, we wouldn't like this to dump off a cliff immediately, because that wouldn't activate a potential buyback position on the RSI for the 4 hour there. We would like it to, in a sense, trickle down, keep on that selling power there for BNB, and then we'll be looking at a later bounce, potentially tonight, tomorrow morning, early doors tomorrow morning, and then potentially seeing that buying power to the upside from there. Potential position to think about there, guys. Potential. Only referencing the RSI, right? Not any other indicators. In terms of what's happening on the old, that trend line is definitely off. That must be from a different time frame, right? Yeah. So that trend line at this point in time, if we are going to see a reversal in this point, we are going to be looking at a new trend cycle forming out in terms of the lower side for the MACD here, the downtrend for the MACD here. So we are looking at a potential plotting point for a trend line there to see if we can get some sort of engagement for the future in terms of the price of BNB. Obviously, that is early June next week. If we can get some sort of indication of where that's going to go in the future in terms of downtrends, right? So that's definitely crucial in terms of plotting that in on the MACD there, because I've got out of a few positions due to that MACD trend line in terms of the cycle coming through there, and it has been a very reliable thing that I've been doing on the charts there. So definitely something to consider, right? Any other requests, guys? Get them requests in the chat. I can jump onto pretty much anything as long as it's on TradingView, guys. But yeah, that's the 4 hour for BNB. Let me jump to I'm not doing Doge, although we are bouncing off a crucial point for Doge. If we are to lose this descending triangle, we would be looking at a measurement to the downside here, and that would be looking something along the lines of this. Obviously, take profit point would be at that 25-cent mark, but be cautious. It's Doge. No one knows what could happen with Doge. One tweet, and so if you got into a short as we got into the retest of this ascending triangle on this horizontal point of this descending triangle here, and we're finding that resistance there. All it takes is one Elon tweet, and your position is liquidated if you are trading your own leverage there, right? Or your position is going to be ruined if you are just doing those spot trades there. So yeah, be cautious when trading Doge there. But yeah, in terms of what is happening, we're nearly oversold on the 4 hour. So that is an indication that we are going to see some buying back, and that we're probably not going to break this zone here. And we do have a horizontal resistance point coming down here, I do think. Yeah, horizontal resistance point coming down here, I do think, which, as you can see, we have found continuous resistance on that point. So we are potentially looking at, if we do see that buying power here, we're probably potentially looking at a resistance point to the top side of this triangle, descending triangle here. So we are potentially looking at a bounce to the lower side in terms of resistance off this 21 moving average as well. It's definitely something to think about in terms of Doge price action, in terms of trading Doge, right? Let me jump to FexVet and TRX if you want to. Yes, Wasim, I will do that for you, sir. If you are of male origin. FET dollar will do. This one here, right? I think that's right. Fetch. Correct me if I'm wrong. What's in there? And I'll do this for you now. Let me jump to the daily, right? Let's jump to the daily. As I was saying before, a lot of the charts are all the same in terms of that crypto crash that we were having there. But in terms of dominant support lines that we got coming, dominant resistance points, downward slope and resistance point that we got coming through here, is going to be sat around that 50p mark, currently around 27, near enough, quite a long way down from that, right? So in terms of a target, your long-term target on the daily here would be to get over this 200 moving average that we've got coming through here, and you did find a nice heavy level of resistance there. So, but on the positive side, you do have a higher low here, and you're pretty far away from that higher low in terms of challenging it, in terms of eradicating it, in terms of having that trend fizzle out, in terms of this uptrend, in terms of the recovery from the daily, which you have been finding here. So ideally, it's not too bad. I do believe you have just set a higher high in terms of this daily candle here. You have just set a higher high in terms of this uptrend that you got coming through here. So it's not all bad news, right? It's not all bad news as long as you can close above this point here, above this zone here, around that 25-cent zone. As long as you can close above that, you are potentially looking at progression to the upside from there. And this what you're seeing here. What you're seeing here is basically just some sort of price correction, right? Just some sort of price correction before you're seeing that momentum to the upside, because you can't jump up in price literally like 90, near enough 100% there without seeing that small sort of correction from where we are currently now, and that is around a 20, near enough 30% correction, 27% correction. So yeah, at this point in time, pretty healthy indeed, I must say. I would be bullish in terms of a bounce position if we can stay above that 24-cent zone. Obviously on predication of what Bitcoin's going to do on the daily here. And the 4 hour we got coming through here, obviously that horizontal support point is going to be there. And you can just see the momentum we're finding from that point. So yeah, I would be looking at potential position from there. If we've got the moving averages coming down with that as well, we've got looking at some nice take profits there. If we're looking at a long position there, if we are to lose that to the downside, I mean, to be honest with you, I wouldn't be entering a short there. It's pretty unpredictable right now, because obviously we do have this buying momentum to the upside. So if we are to basically come down around this point, we could potentially see a reversal pretty imminently. But yeah, it is pretty crucial. We do eradicate these higher lows if we are going to be looking for that lower price there. But ideally, you want that support if you want that progression to the upside here. And yeah, I do think it is going to go up. As I was saying on the 4-hourly there, on the daily there, we are setting these higher points in terms of that trend. These corrections are healthy indeed. In terms of the RSI, pretty central indeed on the old 4-hour there. So can't really get some sort of indication gauge from there. Not really any pretty dominant sloping resistance lines coming down from there that I can see just from that first look there. But yeah, at this point in time, in terms of what's happening on the old MACD here, it's pretty, you get setting these higher points in terms of uptrends, right? And that's obviously these insane waves, right? These insane waves to the upside. And you just had that bearish crossover, right? You're looking at a trend at the moment. I mean, it's pretty goddamn flaccid, if you want my honest opinion there. It's pretty goddamn flaccid, and that's why it's an indication that you could be coming down to this point on the MACD here, this horizontal support point on the MACD here, and then that's obviously going to bring you down to this point here, and then you're looking at that bullish crossover there on the MACD, and then that progression to the upside. And in terms of progression to the upside right now on the MACD, is looking a lot more achievable to come up to these sort of levels than around these sort of levels in terms of because obviously this lower low point in terms of that downtrend, that was like the 20th of May, right? So quite far away. In terms of the most recent target points, you are looking at that 27th of May. That was the last sort of high point in terms of the uptrend there. So you would be looking at a nicer uptrend if you are going to see that bullish crossover there. So it's definitely something to consider in terms of watching the price, in terms of a bounce point from this point here for that old FET, right? For the FET there. Let me jump for VeChain, baby. VeChain, baby. Let me jump to VeChain for you there. What's in VeChain? Where's that on my chart? Yeah, there we go. VeChain. Right, VeChain right now. We are crucial points as well, crucial bounce point as well. Hopefully we can get a bounce on that. This is obviously the 4-hourly chart. We do have 58 minutes left of that. So keep your eyes peeled. If we do get a nice horrible 4-hourly close below that, we are potentially looking at coming down from there. Unfortunately, we have eradicated these higher low points in terms of this uptrend here, and we are continuously setting these lower highs continuously, right? So, I mean, to have a bounce, to have that trend reversal, we do have to get through this resistance point at around that 9 cents and 76. God, VeChain's only at 9 cents. God, that is cheap, I must say, for VeChain. Considering that high prices that we saw before for VeChain, it was just crazy. We saw these insane gains happen near enough over literally like a few weeks there. So we were like, right, okay, we do see a lot of hope in VeChain, and then it just kind of started falling off a cliff, and then we had the crypto crash, of course. So at this point in time, I do think VeChain is very cheap, and I'm bullish on VeChain for the long run in terms of being one of the domination coins across China and Asia and that sort of place, right? Yeah, I do think VeChain is going to do some insane stuff in the future. I'm not really too confident on the fundamentals there, so I can't really talk about it. But yeah, have some good research on VeChain there. Obviously not on the top of my head. I have done my research on VeChain, and that's why I'm bullish on it, right? But yeah, crucial point to watch out for is closing below this 0.9 cents 35 there. I would 9 cents 33, right? Sorry, I would be looking at hopefully getting a bounce from there. If we don't get a bounce from there, not looking good indeed. I would be looking at challenging this lower level of support around that 7 cents zone there. But we do have this volume weighted ATR band coming through on the old hourly chart there, so could be looking at a bounce at around that 0.7 cents, 7 cents 9 there. As you can see, we do find levels of support pretty much on, obviously this is the crypto crash, that's obviously that panic sell, so we're not going to respect it that much there. But yeah, we do find nice levels of support on this volume weighted ATR band, so there could be a nice bounce point, potential long position there to think about in the future, right? But yeah, so obviously we do find nice levels of support, and that's obviously clean examples there that we are doing that. But yeah, crucial points to watch out for would be that right now. VeChain is a monster. Yes, sir, it is. VeChain is a monster. A monster yet to be let out, in my opinion. I do think we are looking at some insane gains for VeChain in the long term, right? And what is happening on the long term for VeChain? Not good. It's not good. We are seeing that retracement, but yeah, it is crucial. It's absolutely crucial that we bounce off this 200 moving average that we got coming through here, as well as correlating perfectly with this horizontal support line, right? So if we can get a bounce off there, that would be ideal. Next target point would be to eradicate this lower high point in terms of the daily candles there. So in a few days' time, if we're seeing that trend reversal there, that would be nice to break through this resistance point that we got coming through here around that 10 cents 5, and then the next target would be this 11 cents and 38. 11 cents 38 there, that would be the next target for VeChain in terms of like a few days in terms of the long term, right? But as I said, if we are to lose this point, it's not good at all. We are looking at the progression to the downside, right? Let me go to Tron for you there. Oh no, it's not Tron. TRX. Let's do Binance charts, but it's not great, is it? Let me do that one there, right? It's currently sat at around 6 cents, right? 6 cents, 6 cents 8, right? Obviously, we have seen these insane dumps on the daily here. In terms of the recovery, we didn't quite get to this lower high point in terms of a challenge, right? We didn't quite get to this point here. We would have ideally liked to come up in terms of this upswing that we were having here, challenge that before seeing a correction, because that obviously shows that we had that momentum to get to this point. At this point in time, we didn't. We set another lower high here coming through here, so it is looking like we are seeing that progression to the downside. In terms of targets for the daily, I would be looking at coming down to around this point, around 6 cents 3, before seeing that progression move to the upside. It's not looking good in my opinion. We are just setting these lower highs, and we have lost that 200 moving average there, and this crucial point of these higher lows coming up here, right? We have lost that crucial point of support there, and if we are to come up, we're likely to find some resistance there as well, right? So yeah, not good. It's not good, right? On the daily. It's not good on the daily. But yeah, as you can see here, we have just actually lost the volume weighted ATR band as well. It's not looking good in my opinion. We have lost this volume weighted ATR band as well, and we are continuously riding that down. That's an indication that we are going to continuously ride that down for a bit longer. Potential target, as I said a second ago, was that around that 6 cents there. Definitely something to consider when trading this. If we are to find a nice candle close above this volume weighted ATR band, which is sat at around that 7 cents 128 there. If we can find a nice candle close above it, we could be looking at coming up and potentially testing this 21. But we did see a candle close here on the old 4 hourly, and we didn't see that progression we moved to the upside. So that's an indication we don't have that level of buying momentum above this volume weighted ATR band here. So yeah, be cautious. If we do get a close there, cross your fingers. If not, we are looking at a progression rate to the lower side, right? In terms of the hourly right now, we do have dominant trend lines that I can draw through coming through here, right? Dominant trend lines, obviously getting as many touches as we can, right? Let me get rid of the WOD machines, get rid of all these moving things right now. It does look pretty falling wedge to me. It does look pretty falling wedge. And it does look kind of like we have just broke that falling wedge, right? It does look like we have kind of broke that falling wedge, that trend line of this falling wedge here. So we could be looking at a measure move to the downside. In terms of a measure move to the downside, it would be looking something along the lines of this, because we go on the most recent trend. Obviously, a lot of people for crypto, they'd be going on the previous move, looking something along the lines of that. But for me, it's just greedy. It's just greedy. I wouldn't be doing like that in terms of trade. We would be looking at something along the lines of this, seeing a target price of around that 6.65 cents there. So definitely something to consider. We do have to find support on this 6 cents and 82 there. If we don't find support on that and we do lose it, I would be looking at a target point of around that 65 there. But at this point in time, it looks like we're finding a nice level of support, right? It looks like we're finding a nice level of support, but you've got to take into account if we do get to this oversold point on the RSI here, which we're pretty close on the old hourly here, we would be looking at that buying power to the upside, which is an indication that we are going to see a nice test of this downward sloping resistance line coming through here on the bottom side of this falling wedge at around that 6.9 cents there. Sorry, 6 cents and 9 there. That is a monster in a few years. Yes, sir. Yes, sir, it is. Yeah, so that would be a target point to the upside. It would be 0.069 there. If we are going to see a nice level of support being formed here and see that trend reversal and these higher lows being set in terms of these candle closes for the hourly here, right? Yeah, definitely something to consider. But yeah, as you can see here, it's not looking good. It's not good. It's not looking good. Crucial point would be this volume weighted ATR band and this trend line, this dominant downward sloping resistance line currently that we do have coming through here. So you're looking at a nice candle close around that 70, or not 70, that's 7 cents there. And next target point would be that 71 or 7 cents and 1 cent there, right? So yeah, definitely something to consider when trading the old TRX there. TRX. Let me jump to ADA now. Very bullish on ADA. Have been for a long while now. Quite like these Saturday streams, to be honest with you. Quite nice indeed. Obviously, I can't promise that I'm going to stream every single weekend. I will always get content out for you guys every single day, whether it's pre-made content or whether it is a stream. Like today, I was there like, oh, I could make a video, or I could just go live, see us online in terms of the OGs out there who are just sat at home doing a bit of trading for a nice Saturday evening here, because obviously we do like the fact that crypto trades all the time. So yeah, if I can go live, I will be going live, but if not, I will be making some pre-made content for you guys, so like altcoins and that sort of stuff there. But yeah, guys, if you're liking the video, if you're liking the stream, smash that thumbs up, turn that thumbs up blue, helps me out tremendously. In terms of the YouTube algos, and I am a new streamer, of course. I have been doing this literally like 2 weeks here, so I do need that little extra hand here, In terms of ADA right now, I would be looking at a bounce point at this $1.31 there. $1.31 there. We'd be looking at a nice bounce point there, as that is quite a crucial higher low point here that we have coming through here, and also we do have crucial momentum to the upside from this point here. As you can see, these nice wicks coming through here. We do have a lot of upwards momentum coming through here in terms of buying power. So I would be looking at potential, maybe a potential long if we're looking at the other fundamentals. And as you can see here, we're nearly oversold here on the old RSI for the 4 hour here for the ADA. So that could be an indication that we are going to bounce up from there. Definitely something to consider, right? Definitely something to consider if we are going to get to this price and then we do actually become oversold on the RSI, because we always see a price reversal, right? As you can see here, always see a price reversal. Near enough always see a price reversal when we get to that oversold point. In terms of what's happening on the MACD here for the old 4 hour, we've had that bearish crossover coming through. We had this trend sort of fizzle out for a bit, but no, it has continued what it's doing. We are seeing those lower low points getting created in this current trend here, so it is an indication that we are going to potentially come lower before fizzling out again. I would be looking for that trend to fizzle out when we start hitting this crucial point here for a bounce point in terms of a long position potentially. But yeah, in terms of when we do see that fizzle out, when we do see that bullish crossover, we would be looking at a potential trend cycle being formed, something along the lines of this, obviously depending on the predication of where we're going to go and how low we're going to go on this point here, right? So yeah, definitely something to think about when trading the old ADA. In terms of ADA on the long term right now, in terms of targets right now, we would be looking for a target to the downside of this $1.31 there. If we are going to see that progression remove to the upside, I would like to see us eradicate this this lower high that we've got forming for this candle here. If we can't find a nice level of support on this horizontal resistance line currently at this $1.40, I would see us coming down to this $1.31 zone. But at this point in time, when we do close this 4 hourly candle in 49 minutes time, if we can see a nice surge in buying power and we can clear this lower high wick that we've got coming through here in terms of this downtrend, that's an indication that we are going to see potential reversal in the price, right? Hopefully that can come through. Right? Hopefully that can come through. But yeah, that's 88 on the old short term there. Let's jump to the 12 hour. I mean, 12 hours is pretty much the same thing. We do have this 200 moving average coming through as well there. So if we do see this this price coming down, it is an indication that we are looking for a potential another bounce from that point as well. Because as you can see, we have got that upwards momentum from this 200 moving average as well as this horizontal support point as well. So yeah, it's another indication we could be looking at potential long. The stars are aligning for this trade here. In terms of percent for this trade that we would be potentially looking for, we would be looking at for a potential take profit point at this horizontal resistance point coming through here at that $1.44. In terms of percent for that trade, we would potentially be looking at, we wouldn't be getting in as soon as we tap that line, right? We would be looking in, no, let me get rid of that. We would be looking at getting in after that to see potentially where the candle closes, etc. And it could be a near enough an 8% trade there. So something definitely to consider in terms of a long position as the stars are aligning for that point there. In terms of what's happening on the RSI here, we do have this downward sloping resistance line, and we're nearly oversold on the RSI here. So it is an indication that we are going to come down and tap this point. So it's all coming into point. It's all coming into fruition. I think that's the word. I need to research that word, see if I'm using that right. But yeah, if we are going to come down here and we are going to see a bounce in terms of buying power, because we are going to be oversold on the RSI, that is another indication we are looking at a nice healthy bounce off this 200, which is another confirmation that a long position could be good. But also you do need to think about this downward sloping resistance line here. If we are going to see an insane surge of buying power from this point here, and we are looking at a take profit here, that could correlate perfectly with this downward sloping resistance line as well. So that's another factor to think about when we're managing our position live, right? Obviously nothing I say is financial advice. I advise you do your own research on your trades. Obviously I like to give an insight into some of the trades that I could be potentially taking here. So you guys can research them yourself and make your own call on whether you want to take them, right? As you can see on the MACD for the 12 hour here for the ADA, we have just had that bearish crossover. Looking for that potential trade to be potential downside to be a bit stronger here. If we are going to see us come down and tap this point, we are actually falling in price as I'm speaking, right? We're actually falling in price as I'm speaking. So yeah, that's an indication that we could come down and look at that nice position there, looking good stuff. Very good stuff. We are far away from a bullish crossover as well, right? So it's definitely something to take into account. But the last uptrend was pretty dire, right? Pretty fizzled out. Nothing really going on here. Hopefully we can get some sort of upwards momentum from there. But at this point in time, I can't really see anything that's really congruent on the MACD here that's going to give us some sort of signal. We could just be looking for those bullish and bearish crossovers while we're in our trade and managing it from there. But obviously the MACD's it is good. Like the MACD is good. It's a great indication of what's going to happen in terms of the trends and in terms of taking profit and stuff at the top of the trends and the bottoms of the trends there, and seeing where it's going to cross over. But it's not always going to be 100% there. It's not always going to be 100% there. But it's always worth having a little look, having a little glance, see what's going on with it there, because it could have some sort of indication. It saved me a few times, I must say. Saved me a few times, right? Let me jump to polka dot. polka dot. Let's jump to polka dot here. Jump to the daily straight away. As you can see, we have smashed through these lower high points on the daily here. Sorry, these higher low points on the daily here. Not good at all. Looking pretty bearish in my opinion. We did have this dominant horizontal level of support, which we have smashed through. So if we are looking to come to the upside, we are going to find some resistance off that. No doubt in my mind, potentially coming down even further. To see this $17.90 mark target, to see that candle close, wrong tool, see that candle close here, like that candle close we saw on that massive downswing that we had before. We saw that candle close around this point, so we could be looking at a potential bounce from up from there, obviously managing all the other factors in terms of the RSI, in terms of the MACD and stuff like that, in terms of indicators, right? In terms of targets to the upside for DOT, I would be looking at a minimum target of getting over this horizontal resistance point at around that $19.75 for DOT there. And hopefully finding a bounce from there. If we can get a nice candle close on the old daily above that, we would be looking at a potential bounce from there, potentially even coming up and testing that 200 moving average coming there. But if we do get that candle close below it, I would be looking at progression to the low side. If not, we would be looking at targeting this zone and getting over these higher low points that we've got falling in here. And then the next target would be these lower highs coming through here. That would be the kind of the ideal scenario for DOT there if we are looking for a progression to the upside on the daily there. If we jump to the 4 hourly, same sort of scenario. We have lost this absolutely crucial point here in terms of these higher low points. It's an indication that we are going to come down lower. We do have the volume weighted ATR been coming through here at around that $17.16 around that point. It's an indication we could see a bounce from there, potentially. If we do see a bounce from there, potential position to think about, because obviously the volume weighted ATR band, is heavily respected, right? It's heavily respected on quite a few of the time frames there, right? Quite a few of the time frames it is heavily respected in terms of support, right? Didn't quite get there on this point here, but as you can see, bang, 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 bang. Nice little support there to think about. So in terms of managing the price action, in terms of managing the RSI, in terms of managing trends and stuff, we've got to think, could we bounce from this point? If we could bounce from this point, could we potentially getting in a little swing from there, right? A little swing from there. If we are looking at a nice swing from there, we would be looking at something along the lines of maybe a 15, 13% there for DOT. Very, very nice indeed if we are going to see that upwards buying momentum. As you can see, we did have a rising wedge coming through here. We did have a rising wedge coming through here, and we did actually see that break to the downside. Right, let me jump to the smaller time frame so it's a lot more visually appealing for you guys there. We did see this break to the downside, as you can see here, and we did see that retest, right? We did see that retest, so that's an indication that we do, that's a great entry, right? Indication for a great entry, so we would be entering our position around this point here, obviously correlating perfectly with the 55 moving average on the hourly here. And also this 21 moving average, and near enough the price action channel as well on the 4 hourly where. So there's a few things indicating for that trade. Personally, for me, I don't think I took that trade because obviously I probably missed it, right? It's probably one of my streaming things. It was the 28th of May. Yeah, no, I don't think I took that trade yesterday. But yeah, so definitely something to consider here, because that is basically how you can see the chart playing out there. Very, very nice indeed in terms of percent for that trade, which in a sense played out very, very nice indeed. We were looking at a very nice short position there, looking at around 11% there. Very, very nice indeed. I think that was when actually Bitcoin dumped, right? I think that was when Bitcoin dumped, and I was actually short in Bitcoin at that time. So yeah, that's probably why I didn't get in that trade. I was more preoccupied at this point in time. Right now, in terms of live price action for the hourly, we're seeing a bit of trend reversal, right? This is quite nice in terms of what we're looking for. In terms of coming back up and claiming this crucial horizontal resistance point at that $19.75 mark. Very, very crucial indeed. We are seeing that trend reversal here, which is nice. It's nice to see. We are near enough oversold on the old RSI here, so obviously that means we're going to see that buying power back up. We are going to see resistance at this point in the $19.77 zone there, so it's definitely a point to think about in terms of crucial resistance that we could find. If we can find a nice few candle closes above that on the old hourly here, that would be ideal. Looking to come up after that and test this crucial zone at around that $20.45 zone. But as I said, on the 4 hourly here, we do have this volume weighted ATR band coming down to that $17.20 mark. So it's definitely considered for a bounce point there to think about, right? Definitely considering a bounce point there to think about. And guys, if you're liking the stream, smash that thumbs up button. Helps me out tremendously. Turn that thumbs up blue. And guys, if you want to trade with me every single morning, Monday to Friday, I'm here for 1 to 2 hours streaming on YouTube live. I create content for you guys every single day. So if you never want to miss any of my content, live streams, altcoin videos, emergency Bitcoin updates, all that good stuff there, smash that subscribe button, smash that notification bell, and you're never going to miss one of my uploads. It's as simple as that, guys. Simple as that. And guys, any requests in the chat, dump those requests in the chat, and I will do some TA for you live on air. do some TA for you live there. I'm going to jump to Litecoin for now, right? Going to jump to Litecoin for now. As you can see, we are seeing these lower highs being set continuously in terms of this downtrend, which we've got coming through on the old 4-hourly here. On the old 4-hourly here, we do see a nice challenge of the volume-weighted ATR band coming through. A nice challenge of the volume-weighted ATR band coming through at this 159 mark coming through here. If we do get a candle close below that, I would be looking at some potential resistance there. Some potential resistance here, as you can see, coming down from the volume-weighted ATR band. Something definitely to think about here. Something definitely to think about. If we are going to see a close below this, we could be looking at a target point of around this $131. Obviously, that's quite ambitious in terms of percent from that volume-weighted ATR band coming down. We would be looking at literally like a 70% drop for Litecoin there. For me, personally, don't think we're going to get there. Don't think we're going to come down all the way to this level. But obviously, we never know in terms of what Bitcoin can do, because if Bitcoin dumps off a cliff, we know all these altcoins are going to dump off a cliff as well. So it's definitely a few things to think about there for Litecoin. In terms of a target price, in terms of a live target price now, we would be looking to get over this volume-weighted ATR band, get a nice 4-hourly close above that, and then we'll see that trend reversal. Then the next target would be this horizontal resistance point sitting at around that $170 mark, and that obviously correlates with these higher low points coming up from that previous uptrend that we saw from that price recovery from that lower low point there at around $118 for Litecoin there. Done that low, Christ. That's crazy. Yeah, obviously, as seeing those all-time highs before, sat around that 400 mark. Very, very crazy stuff indeed. As you can see, oh yes, I remember talking about this. Very, very nice, healthy, very nice, attractive. This is a very attractive chart. Very, very attractive chart pattern here in terms of an upwards rising price channel coming through here, a rising price channel coming through here. Very, very nice indeed. But as you can see, we did see that measure move come down to the downside play out very, very nicely indeed. So that's why these chart patterns are pretty crucial, right? These chart patterns are pretty crucial. Oh no, we didn't see it play out, right? Obviously on the logarithmic chart, right? We didn't see that quite play out, but we would have seen heavy points of resistance at this point here. As you can see, it would have been a pretty good take profit point, right? Because you can see the correlation in terms of the price here. You can see the resistance that we found coming down there. We've seen the support that we have continuously coming up, right? And that obviously we found a nice level of support before we had this insane pump to the upside, right? Before we had that insane pump to the upside. So yeah, that would have been a lovely take profit point for that trade there in terms of percent for that trade. I would have been looking at 45%. That would have been absolutely juicy indeed, right? So a few things to think about in terms of the future. But as you can see, for the live price watch now, what's happening right now with Litecoin? We're obviously dumping, right? And as I said, we do have these crucial points to get over if we are looking at a trend reversal there. But absolutely low point, we do have this volume-weighted ATR band sat around that $133 mark for the hourly. Yeah, crucial we get over it in terms of the 4-hourly chart there. 4-hourly chart there, crucial we get over that, right? Absolutely crucial. Let me jump to, that's pretty much Litecoin summed up, guys. In terms of short-term targets, it would be to get over this volume-weighted ATR band at around that 163 mark. So yeah, if you're watching the price now, if you're in a trade right now for Litecoin, if you're in a short right now for Litecoin and you do get a candle close below this volume-weighted ATR band, it's not looking bad because you are looking for a resistance swing to the downside from there, right? But yeah, if you're in a long or anything like that, I would be looking at a nice candle close above this. Otherwise, your position's not looking good at all. Let's have a look at Uniswap, right? Uniswap is dumping, right? Jeez, everything's dumping. Bitcoin just hit 33, right? Let me have a look at the short term for Bitcoin. Short term for Bitcoin right now. Short term for Bitcoin. As I said, we were looking for that potential short position, right? Potential short position, having this measure move here, having that target point of that around that 32,700, as mentioned in the title of the stream here. Having that as a target point in terms of a short. But yeah, at this point in time, this candle on the hourly, I don't want to say we're setting a higher low here because we're actually dumping as I'm talking, right? So I don't want to say we're setting a higher low here. We would be potentially setting a lower high coming through down here. So yeah, not looking good. It's not looking good. I think we are going to come down from that point there. And yeah, this would have been a short position I would have entered, right? I would have had my stop loss above this 10 moving average coming through here. So I know I've got a nice level of resistance coming down if we are to wick up something like that, right? If we are to wick looking like something like that, I would have on my stop loss around this point, around that 44,600, 400 mark. No, around that 44,500 mark, around that point there. And yeah, if we were to wick up to this 10 moving average that we've got coming down here, I would have been protected in terms of not getting stopped out, right? And then we're having that continuation down to the downside. In terms of a take profit, it would be around that 32,700 point because that does correlate with a few of the major candle closes on the longer time frames, I think, right? 32,700. No, there is definitely a correlation somewhere. Good rave music for a Saturday night playing in my ears. Yeah, we do have a wick down there, and near enough a candle close. Yeah, near enough candle closes around that point there. So that is definitely a heavy point of support to think about in terms of I entered it for you, bro. Come on, Ivo. Obviously, nothing I say is financial advice. I'm not responsible for your trades. But for me, personally, this is a trade that I would be looking for. And guys, if you are going to be entering trades, do your own research on that. But yeah, good to see you here, Ivo. Skydemex off the cliff, bro. To the deep sea dive. Deep sea dive into those ocean dark trenches, right? I don't know what I'm trying to say, right? But yeah, what's up? Me and we split the cents. Don't know what that means, bro. We and me split the cents. Not a clue, bro. But yeah, any altcoins, guys, smash them in the chat, and I'll do a TA for you guys, right? But yeah, at this point in time, I am looking at that potential position there that I can't get into because I'm live right now. Yay. But yeah, at this point in time for Uniswap, TA on Uniswap right now. I researched, man. Very good indeed, bro. Praying it goes well for you. Crucial point for Uniswap right now is this higher low point coming through here. And that is sat around that $21.68. Skydemex. Cool stuff, bro. And Skydemex, I actually had a little look at your music on your channel, right? Good stuff going on there. Love the content creation. Keep it up. Keep up the good work, bro. Very, very cool stuff indeed. But yeah, as you can see here, the main support point which we are currently looking for is that 21 red. And I thought red it is. Yeah, it's red, bro. Bitcoin is dumping. It's going to dump in my opinion, right? It's going to dump in my opinion. But we do need to manage that RSI because we are near enough oversold on that in terms of the hourly. But in terms of the 4 hourly that we've got coming through here, we're not quite there. So as I said, it'd be nice to kind of fizzle out and then have a bounce. But that's why I had that take profit there because we do have the volume weighted ATR band coming through at around that 32,700 point there. So yeah, definitely something to think about, right? In terms of Uniswap right now, crucial challenge point, right? Crucial challenge point in time finding support on this level at that $21.68. If we can find a bounce from there, find a nice level of upwards momentum as we did before, that's ideal. But as you can see, coiled up moving averages has caused that price to dump, right? That hasn't caused it initially, but it does indicate that we are going to have some sort of correction in the price in terms of to the upside or to the downside. And as you can see, we have had that to the downside. In terms of crucial point, it would be this point. If we get a candle close below that in terms of the 4 hourly, in terms of the 12 hourly, right, it's not going to be looking good at all for anyone involved because it does look like we are going to potentially come down progressively lower than that. And as you can see, we have been setting lower highs, right? So lower highs continuously on the chart here. Moving averages are miles away, so we can't find a nice level of resistance or support from them if we are looking at progressing to the upside. So yeah, it's not looking good if we lose this point here, this crucial point at that $21.70 there. Few things to think about there. In terms of a bounce point, I would be looking at a bounce point to the upside from this volume weighted ATR band at that $17 and $17.32 there. Definitely a bounce point to consider there. In terms of the RSI for Uniswap right now, we did have this downward sloping resistance line. As you can see, primarily we did find a nice level of resistance off it continuously, and that is why it's there. But yeah, at this point in time, on previous price action history, in terms of buying power, we did actually find a nice level of support there, and we were looking at that progression to the upside. But with that being said, that was obviously these insane pumps, right? These insane pumps to the upside that we had coming through here. And now, unfortunately, we have just lost that level of support, right? Excuse me, we just lost that level of support. I bet that sounds really strange in the mic. We just lost that level of support on this downward sloping resistance line here. So we are looking at the progressive selling power coming through here, right? It's progressive selling power coming through, right? And if we are to find a nice level of support on this crucial high-low point here, this horizontal support line that we've got coming through, if we can find a crucial level of support there, I would be looking at resistance if we are to see a swing to the upside. So that's an indication that we are going to potentially bounce off the 21 or the 10 if they are to come down and follow us down, right? If we see some sort of consolidation, we're going to see these moving averages follow us down. And then when that happens, we're likely to see a rejection off this downward sloping resistance line coming through on the RSI. And that basically means we're going to get basically rejected straight off these. We're going to find resistance. We're going to find a nice level of resistance from these moving averages coming down, right? So definitely something to consider when trading the old Uniswap, right? In terms of what's happening on the MACD right now, in terms of what's happening on the MACD, Obviously, you can see this trend cycle playing out. Obviously, that's pretty flaccid, so it's not really a lot to go off. Ideally, I would be liking to see something along the lines of this. But in order for this trend to sort of fizzle out here, I would be looking at a bullish crossover coming through pretty imminently. If that is to happen, that would be ideal. And then this trend that we can draw on here, that's basically going to give us some sort of indication for a potential level of support in the future to think about for Uniswap, right? But at this point in time, we are pretty far away from that bullish crossover, as these two moving averages are pretty far away, right? They're pretty far away indeed. So it's not really a great indication there for the MACD. Yeah, it's pretty much Uniswap summed up. Crucial point is this level here. If we do get over that to the downside, then we are looking at coming down at potential potential bounce point is that $17.33 there. Right, what next? A bit of link. Same scenario, right? Same scenario on pretty much a lot of the charts here. It is this horizontal level of support coming through in terms of this high low point. So yeah, if we are going to lose that on a lot of the charts, we are looking at the progression to the downside. In terms of holding where we are now, we would be looking at a potential bounce here for that $24 mark. I would be looking at holding that and basically holding the own. As you can see, we are near enough bouncing on a downward sloping support line we've got coming through here. If we can get a nice bounce from there, that would be ideal, because that basically means we are going to bounce off this point and we're not going to see us progress any lower. And even if we do progress any lower, right, it's not looking too bad, right? Because if we lose this trend line that we've got coming through down here, if we lose it, we're then going to get to a point where we're oversold, right, in terms of the 4-hourly for Chainlink here. We are going to be looking like we're oversold there, so we are going to see that progression move to the upside. So it is pretty heavy indication, right? Pretty heavy indication that we are going to bounce off this point here for Chainlink, right, in terms of the 4-hourly, right? Obviously, reference a few more time frames if you were going to be looking at positions there for yourself. In terms of the MACD, we are still in that downtrend. We did see a little bit of a fizzle out here. That's obviously this little consolidation correction period that we are coming through here. And it's just carried on from here, right? It's just carried on from here. We're still pretty far away from a bullish crossover. So it's pretty unlikely that we do have this trend sort of fizzle out anytime soon. But ideally, as I said, we are going to be oversold on the RSI, but that doesn't initially mean that we're going to see that bullish crossover imminently happen. It can take a while. If we are seeing that price reversal, it can take a while before we see that bullish crossover on the MACD. So take that into account if you are going to be using the MACD for your trades there, guys. As you can see here, it is crucial that we get over this point on pretty much all the charts, right? Sorry, that we stay above all this point to see that bullish momentum continue, or just even a trend reversal in general. But at this point in time, we do need that because we are seeing this downwards momentum playing out pretty heavily, right? Pretty heavily indeed, right? Yeah, let's jump to Stellar, right? Let's jump to Stellar. Just gonna have some more water here. And guys, I have been streaming for an hour and 23 minutes here, so I might end the stream at around an hour and a half there. It is 8:30 on a Saturday night there. And I had a few drinks last night, right? So I'm pretty tired. I want to go to bed. Yeah, I thought I'd jump on for you guys, create some content, and see if I can provide you guys some entertainment for a Saturday evening for a few hours at least. But yeah, I will be rounding the stream off at around an hour and a half, that sort of mark. But yeah, thank you guys ever so much for being here. It means a lot. Guys, if you like the stream, smash that thumbs up. Helps me out tremendously. And if not, I won't be streaming. I won't be streaming tomorrow because I'm actually going to the beach because the weather's quite nice in England. Literally see some nice weather in England. Everyone runs to the beach, right? so I think we've got like 20 degrees, something crap. But yeah, we're all gonna run to the beach, which should be nice indeed. But yes, I won't be streaming tomorrow. I will be creating some content to put out tomorrow. So rest assured, you will be seeing me on your YouTube, right? You will be seeing me on your YouTube, and I will be back streaming Monday. Potentially Monday morning if I can. What's Bitcoin up to for Liam? Let me jump to Bitcoin for you, sir. But yeah, I will be streaming back Monday, potentially in the morning. Hopefully I can get a stream in the morning. It is going to be bank holiday, so I have to see how that weekend plans out in terms of tomorrow at the beach, right? Could get messy indeed. Hopefully it doesn't. But yeah, in terms of Bitcoin right now, sir, we do have this falling wedge coming through here. So we are looking at potential short position coming down. If we are to find a level of resistance off this horizontal resistance point at that 34,200 mark, right? Cool, King. Cool, thanks for the king. Yeah, not a problem with cool SkyDMX there. But yeah, if we are to find the resistance off this 34,000 mark here, we are potentially looking at a measure move to the downside in terms of a short position, right? Obviously, do not enter the short position if you haven't done your own research, right? Nothing I say is financial advice, all that jazz there. So yeah, if we are looking to see that downwards momentum to the if we are looking to see that resistance from this horizontal resistance point and this trend line that we've got coming down here, if we're looking to see that resistance, we're looking at a measure move coming down here. Target point for that would be around that 2,700 mark, because that lines up well with this volume weighted ATR band coming down through here. So in terms of a price point, that target price that we're looking for here, in terms of a take profit, would be around this zone here, or this horizontal support point around that 33k mark there. In terms of what I think is going to initially happen right now, I do think we are going to see the resistance here, and we are going to see that progression to the downside. The reason why for that is because we are currently near enough oversold on the RSI on the 4 hourly on the hourly here, but we're heading that way, right? We're heading that way on the 4 hourly here, so it is an indication that we are going to basically come down and test this level of support at this 33k zone. So if we are to see that, we are likely to see a bounce up from there. So I do see us coming down to that point there, and then seeing some consolidation period. But as you can see, we are just continuously setting lower highs, right? Continuously setting really quite strong lower highs, and we're not looking like we're going to be challenging them anytime soon, right? We're not looking like we're going to be challenging them anytime soon. Even if we do get a candle close and we do come up, it's likely that we are going to find quite a bit of resistance coming through here. And if we jump down to those smaller time frames there, and we do have the 10 moving average coming through here as well, that's going to work as resistance as well there. And also we do have this 21 creeping down as well, right? So if we are going to see that slight reverse in the trend, it's very unlikely that we do see us eradicate these lower highs coming through and seeing that reversal, because we do have quite a lot of resistance coming down. So in my opinion, at this point in time, we could come up wick around this zone before that continuation down. And that'll obviously correct the RSI a bit on the hourly here, which is kind of what we need because we're near enough oversold. But ideally, ideal scenario, we would be looking for a potential short position here, right? And that is that's the short term coming through. In terms of the midterm right now, for Bitcoin, we do have this downward, this falling price channel coming through. This falling price channel coming through here. That's pretty bad drawing, and it's pretty healthy, right? We're seeing confirmation, a lot of touches all the way through. In terms of obviously that insane crypto crash there, a lot of touches all the way to all the way through. So an absolute bottom point, it would be for me, it would be the lower side of this not this price action channel, this falling price channel that we got coming through here. I would be seeing a bounce coming up from this point if we don't bounce at this volume weighted ATR band or this level of support around that 33. So the absolute low point for Bitcoin for me today would be that 31k zone. Don't think we're going to get there anytime soon, but I do think we are going to be bouncing off this 32,733k zone pretty imminently. And that's pretty much it for Bitcoin right now for Liam, right? In terms of the RSI, we do have this downward sloping resistance line. Hi, Michael. Nice to see you, sir. We do have this downward sloping resistance line coming through. But yeah, at this point in time, we're near enough oversold. So we are going to be looking at some buying back power from there. But that is an indication if we do have that buying back power, we are likely to see resistance off this point. Because as you can see, it is pretty continuous, right? It is pretty continuous until we see it sort of fizzle out in the long run. We're going to see it's going to take quite a while for us to do that, right? Quite a while. It could be pretty it's going to be here for a while, and we could be scurrying around it in terms of finding levels of support, in terms of upwards buying momentum in terms of July. Obviously it's all speculation. If we do break through it, find a level of support on it there, definitely something to think about in terms of Bitcoin for the future, all the way up until August. This line's going to be around with us. So yeah, definitely something to think about in terms of the midterm for Bitcoin, in terms of supports and support and resistance, in terms of the RSI, in terms of buying power, right? Let me have a look. Thanks, Mick. Just subscribe. Oh, no, thank you, man. Means a lot. Yeah, I do stream every single morning, Monday to Friday. So yeah, if you want to tune in with me, Monday to Friday, I do stream for an hour and a half, not an hour and a half, 1 to 2 hours. I've been getting into the habit for streaming for 3 hours now. I did it for Monday. No, I did it for Friday morning and Thursday morning. But yeah, I'm really enjoying streaming for you guys and getting my TA across to you guys. But yeah, really appreciate the subscribe, bro. I'll be looking for you again on the old chat there. And obviously, I'm not a very big YouTuber at this time, so hopefully when I get there in the future, you're going to be one of the OGs out here, like Ivo, SkyDMX, Michael, and Nilesh, and Bill coming through here, the OGs that are sticking through this. This is what I think is going to be a long journey here. But in terms of the long term for Bitcoin coming through here, as I was saying, we are on this weekly candle that we got coming through here, and obviously it is a bank holiday, so it's something to take into account in terms of price action, because that does increase validity and stuff, right? The volatile stuff coming through there. But as you can see, we are currently above this 55 moving average. We are currently above this 55 moving average on the weekly chart in terms of the weekly candle here. It's crucial. Absolutely crucial we hold our own here and we don't get a candle close below. If we get a candle close below it, it's likely that we're going to come down and see 28. I don't want to see that at all. I want to see Bitcoin see that reversal in the trend and see that progression to the upside there. In terms of what's happening on the daily, it is sort of the same scenario. If we do come down to that 30 sort of zone here, we are looking at a bounce point from this volume weighted ATR band. As you can see, it did perfectly predict that last crypto crash that we had there. Everything fell off a cliff. It predicted there. It would have been a lovely long position to get in from there. So for me personally, next time we see this sort of level, I will be looking at potential long to the upside there, and that's sat at around that $29,000 mark for Bitcoin, right? Absolutely crazy stuff indeed. But yeah, as I was saying, for the weekly, for the weekly, we need to get over this 55 and close above it for looking for any sign of progression to the upside, and onto the monthly, because obviously we've only got 2 days and 5 hours left of the monthly there. If we see a candle close below this 10 moving average that we've got coming up here at 31,400, that's not good at all. That's not good at all indeed, right? Because that basically means that we are pretty bearish, right? We're going to be pretty bearish because we're going to have to actually smash through that level of resistance on the monthly, which is obviously harder because it is, and it takes a lot longer, right? So it takes a lot longer to do so in terms of the monthly chart. So it could basically mean that Bitcoin is going to fizzle out for a bit if we do get a candle close below that and potentially scur around this sort of area with the 21 doing some sideways action coming through there. It looks really awful on that monthly chart. But yeah, crucial we don't get close below this 30,000 sort of mark, right? And it could happen if we have some insane sort of panic sell-off. So yeah, keep your wits about you for that. But yeah, on the daily chart right now, let me get rid of the WOD machine. As you can see here, we have got this bull market barrier. This bull market barrier, if it's red, we're in a bear market. If it's blue, we're in a bull market, right? If you look back to this is for me, I found this pretty fascinating indeed. If you look back to the previous bull market we were in, we actually topped out 19,600 there. So actually we came down from there. We saw the uncertainty in the market, and that's that yellow point here. We saw that uncertainty in the market when we were on that downswing here, and then we saw this low point get created. We saw this low point get created before that correction to the upside, but this was initially the start of the bear market, right? And as you can see, we have seen that the indicator move to red color, right? It moved to the red color. But as you can see, from that low point, we saw that progression to the upside, right? We nearly corrected 100% in the price. Nearly corrected 100% in the price before seeing that progression to the downside, seeing that $3,000 Bitcoin, right? So that's an indication that we could be looking at some sort of correction at this point in time in terms of the live price for Bitcoin. So it's definitely something to take into account if we are to see some sort of buying power from now. Because if we get over this 43,000 mark, people are going to be starting bullish, right? They're going to be like, right, let's go. We're going back to the moon. But take this into account. This low point here, basically we don't go any lower than this right now. Imagine we get up to, say, 90, I think it was 96%, right? Imagine we get up to 96% in terms of a correction. That's going to be sat around $59,000 Bitcoin. The amount of people that will be going bullish from there, right? The amount of people that will be going bullish from there and hoping for that progression to the upside from there, seeing those insane prices for Bitcoin, breaking the new all-time high there, breaking those points. Imagine how many people would go bullish. That's what I was saying. Yeah, imagine how many people would go bullish if we were to see that $59,000 Bitcoin coming through. It's exactly what happened last time. And then they absolutely just dumped it off a cliff and continued that bear market to the floor. So it's definitely something to think about if history is going to repeat itself, if whales are going to be manipulating it and repeating itself like that, right? So yeah, I would be cautious around these zones, around trading it in general, because obviously it's pretty uncertain. It's pretty uncertain because we could see that insane correction, or we could see that progression to the upside, and all of this is just literally a complete trap. It's a complete trap to the downside and getting everyone to sell off really cheap, right? Getting everyone to sell off really cheap before they continue the price up to the upside. Likelihood is probably just a correction here. But as I said, be very cautious indeed around these zones, right? Be very cautious indeed. And in terms of the long term in general for Bitcoin, target-wise, before we even go anywhere, it is getting over this 41,000 zone. Because those are the pretty dominant lower highs, right? They're pretty dominant lower highs in terms of that downtrend. And we didn't actually quite get there to even try and test them at the start of this week, I think it was, right? We didn't quite get there. Where are we? Midterm. Yeah, we didn't quite get there, right? We didn't quite get there in terms of getting to this point. Because when we do get to that point, we are going to find some level of resistance there. So it's definitely something to consider. And it's crucial we get over these points to even think about that continuation to the upside, right? So yeah, if you're watching Bitcoin consecutively like I am, I would be looking to get over this point before we see any sort of bullish momentum, right? Before we see any sort of bullish momentum, because I do know we are going to see some resistance there. And that, sir, is a fact. But yeah, definitely something to consider, right? But yeah, Stellar at this point in time. Just have some water. Guys, any requests, dump them in the chat, right? Dump them in the chat. I'll jump on them straight away for you guys. I think I'm just gonna if there's no request in the chat in 2 minutes, I am gonna sum it up tonight. Be going for an hour and a half now on a Saturday evening. But yeah, I am going to sum it up after that. But yeah, in terms of so yeah, get your request in the chat if you want me to do something for you. But yeah, right now for Stellar, in terms of targets, right now for Stellar, I would be looking for a target around that 35-cent zone. If we can get a nice close above this level of support that we've got, level of resistance, horizontal resistance point at this 35-cent 5 here zone. If we can get above that, get a nice candle close above that, then that'll be absolutely indeed. SkyDMX, yes sir, we do need to see that 41k, and we do need to find that support on 41k for Bitcoin before we see that progression to the upside. But yeah, if I end the stream, I might actually have a chance to get in my short position there. Very nice indeed. But yeah, so yeah, in terms of a target for Stellar right now, I would be looking at getting over that 35-cent 5 zone. If we are going to see a candle close below it in the next 16 minutes for the 4 hour, I would be looking at progression to the downside, because as you can see, we are setting these lower highs continuously. And the next target to the downside on the hourly chart, no, the 4 hourly chart here, would be that 31-cent zone. That is quite a long way away. In order to get to that point, we would need to see some insane sort of sell off there, and that's around 10% there. So it's definitely something to consider, right? If we are going to be falling to that point, that's going to be the target around that 31. And BTC today, so it's all good, King. Sweet, bro. AM BTC today, so it's all good, King. Yeah, sweet, bro. But yeah, it's good to see you again, SkyDMX, man. Appreciate all the support that you guys have been giving me out here. Very, very nice indeed. Really, really appreciate it. But yeah, so Stellar, in terms of targets, if we do close above this 35-cent zone, I would be looking at progression to the upside and challenging this volume-weighted ATR band sat at around 37 cents there. But yeah, definitely something to consider when trading the old Stellar. Trading the old Stellar. What do you think about BTC dominance versus BTC price, since you asked? I mean, at this point in time, the price is pretty. I just think it's going to go down for now. I think it's going to go down, and we're gonna bounce from there. In terms of dominance, I think you mean like fundamentals and stuff like that, right? In terms of the dominance of BTC, I do think we are for the future looking for that progression, but it's just so trappy, right? It's so trappy, and we don't know where it's going to go at this point in time because of obviously the uncertainty of the bull market and the bear market here. So in terms of seeing that progression to the upside, as I said, it's just for me target prices, TA coming through, just setting those targets and just getting to those points there, right? That's how I am with Bitcoin at this point in time. But yeah, in terms of leading the market, it's driving me up the wall. It's driving me up the wall how Bitcoin's just leading the market. It was nice to see Ethereum behaving pretty erratically, right? Pretty erratically recently. It was nice to see that. See Ethereum actually do some insane stuff that wasn't correlating with everything else. But yeah, ideally, I wouldn't want Bitcoin to be leading the market continuously, because I think a lot of traders in terms of crypto are pretty sick of it. Because obviously Bitcoin dumps off a cliff, everything else dumps off a cliff. In terms of price prediction, it's pretty good, right? It's a pretty easy indicator to see where the price is going to go. But yeah, we are looking for those in terms of the bear market right now. If we are going to be continuing into that bear market for Bitcoin, I would be looking for those potentially around five altcoins that are going to be behaving differently to Bitcoin, because some always do, and those are going to be the ones with the actual fundamentals behind them. So potentially ADA, XRP, Matic, Ethereum definitely, depending on their announcement, and BNB as well. So there's a few altcoins that I do believe that if we do see Bitcoin fall off an absolute cliff here, that I do believe that we are going to see some potential progression from those coins to the opposite side of BTC. Hopefully, right? That's all in speculation. But yeah, guys, I'm going to end the stream off here. Be going for around an hour and 38 minutes. Absolutely lovely to have you guys all here. And yeah, if you could like the stream, put that thumbs up. Helps me out tremendously in terms of the YouTube algos. I won't be streaming tomorrow. As I said, I am going to the beach, but I'll be back Monday to give you guys a TA on Bitcoin and any altcoins that you guys can request. Yeah, do that on Monday morning, and yeah, I'll see you then. Basically, I really need to work on like my outros. I don't really know what to say when I'm leaving the stream, but yeah, just thank you ever so much for being here, guys. And yeah, smash the subscribe and the notification bell if you haven't already. But yeah, guys, this is basically me signing off. Thanks again. Goodbye from Crypto Chester.